call this meeting of the Seward City Council to order. It's Monday, July 28th, 2025, at 7 p.m. Chief, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for tonight's meeting. Finch?
Here.
Osenga?
Here.
Warner is excused. Wells is excused. Barnwell?
Here.
Kreitz?
Here.
And Mayor McClure.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. First on our agenda is a proclamation. This is by far and away my favorite proclamation ever. This is to dedicate the 70th Seward Silver Salmon Derby to Dorothy Urbach. So, listen closely. Whereas Dorothy Urbach was Derby publicity chairman for 30 years, and whereas Dorothy Urbach was a major contributor to the Derby for decades, and whereas Dorothy Urbach won the Derby in 1979 with a 16.11 pound coho, and whereas Dorothy Urbach was an enthusiastic and sincere ambassador for Seward, and whereas Dorothy Urbach was unrelenting in encouraging Willard Dunham to get his fishing boat ready for the Derby, and whereas Dorothy Urbach was even willing to paint Willard's boat, and whereas Dorothy Urbach was happy to provide a smorgasbord of food for all the anglers on the boat, and whereas Dorothy Urbach barely tolerated any fishing advice, especially from the men on the boat, and whereas Dorothy Urbach would bait her own hook, catching more and larger salmon than the guys, and whereas Dorothy Urbach won the Derby in 1979 because she was sitting in Beverly Dunham's seat, and whereas Beverly Dunham did not win the Derby because Dorothy was in her seat at Willard's boat. Now, therefore, I, Sue McClure, Mayor of the City of Seward, do hereby proclaim that the 70th Seward Silver Salmon Derby is held in honor of Dorothy Urbach. And this is dated this 28th day of July 2025. And there's a nice picture here. If you look in your packet, I believe it's on page 5. There's a nice picture of her receiving the winning fish award back in '79. So, anyway, for Dorothy Urbach. We have a relative of Dorothy's here. If you'd like to say a few words, Susie. Whoops.
My mom would be thrilled.
She would love
She
this.
would be thrilled. So thank you for this. And, you know, it's all due to Nikki Morawski and Cindy Clark for spearheading this, and then coordinating with the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, it's wonderful. So it's a lovely thing, and thank you all for.
Congratulations. Thank you. I have stories. Everyone has stories about Dorothy, but occasionally my mom would get to go out fishing with her and Carol Ann on the boat. And one time my mom caught a bigger fish than Dorothy, and she never heard the end of it. Anyway, that's really neat. We're now to citizen comments on any subject except items scheduled for public hearing. There are no items scheduled for public hearing. You'll have 3 minutes. It doesn't look like we'll go over our 36-minute time. So if you are signed in, you'll get first shot. Mr. Clerk, has anyone signed in?
There's one person signed in, Cheryl Cease.
Well, here you come. And you know the routine.
Yes, yeah, I do. And you'll have to remind me when it comes. Oh, I can see the clock, I think. Okay, I'm Cheryl Cease and live at 531 First Avenue. And that's the first house south of the Jeep Trail, the emergency Jeep Trail. And we had been to the meetings in September of April of 24, and it was passed by the council that they would put up the signs on the corners and also bigger something on the Jeep Trail so people do not go in there and park. It's an emergency trail, and I got the police department's thing already plugged in to my phone because they asked me not to put my little sign on the windows anymore about what part of no parking don't you understand. And they said, please don't do that anymore, just call us. So I do. And I'm not the only one. So we would like to have the signs put up by the Jeep trail there that they can't park. And one thing is Metco is going to do, what is it, Phoenix Road or something? Yeah, Phoenix Road. Maybe they could bring in an extra little bit of the blacktop that they're going to do and maybe spread not the whole entryway to the gates, but at least part way up there. And then maybe we can have sign put up, big sign painted on there, no parking. And if people can't, because they can't see these two signs. Years ago, and it was in the 2019 or something, put new signs up, but the arrows were pointing the wrong way. And I called them, because I'd gone home for lunch and saw it, and they said that our city manager had told them which way to place it. Well, they have changed it one sign, and then they put the little old one back, but people still do not read. They think if they can just pull it to the side, oh, well, they'll get around me. So I'm hoping that this maybe will press this a little harder, that we tried very hard to keep people out of that parking spot. They don't understand. We had an emergency the other day, and just think if we had 3 cars parked in there, they couldn't have gotten up there with the Jeep if they did go. Okay, and so then also on the corners where you turn on Monroe, they were going to put no parking because people park right on the corner and on the blacktop and not off. And you can't see around the corner. And if you're going to walk that trail, oh, I'm so sorry, you have to walk another 20 feet to be able to get up to the trailhead. But maybe those signs could also be put back up. And then another little thing I'd like to just mention is, I know I have a little time, but the electric bills and the water and sewer. How much more does it cost us to have 2 sets of billings go out to everybody, envelopes, extra employees? Postage is getting terrible besides everything else that's done. So I'm just hoping that we can stop and think about having so many people work at the water and sewer, and it should go back to one place, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl. Is there anybody else wanting to speak? Okay, it's a beautiful day out there. That probably explains a lot. All right, we'll move along to the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda. I'd ask for a motion to approve and a second, please.
I move for the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I have one addition I'd like to make that just came up under 10C, other new business. I'd like to add a discussion item, and it would be a brief discussion about Phil Zimmerman's request to add some new DRP funds to his phase 2, and I'll have administration explain that probably, or okay, as a discussion, so we can give some direction. Are there any other changes? Okay, seeing none, we're ready to vote.
Okay, voting on the approval of tonight's agenda and consent agenda as amended. Lasenga,
Yes.
Finch,
Yes.
Barnwell,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
and Mayor McClure.
Yes.
Your agenda and consent agenda have been approved, and the only item on the consent agenda is the July 14th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes.
Okay, thank you. So now we move on down to the city manager report, which you'll find on page 16. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I'd like to thank the public for the comments on the parking. We had actually looked into creating this really big, beautiful gate over there, which kind of delayed that process a little bit, but thanks for the reminder. We'll get back to making sure that area is spiffed up a little bit and maybe bringing in a cool new gate. We'll see. But in addition to that, I'd also like to highlight some notes in the city manager report. I'm looking for the thing I wanted to highlight. on the 17th, prior to our next council meeting, there will be the first ever CV Invitational Dog Run along the waterfront, and you and your dog can go for a run, which I think is a really exciting opportunity, a good way to remember Dan's CV. And I'd also like to highlight the electric utility survey that went out last week, and you'll be seeing flyers in the mail this upcoming week. And kind of give some background on that survey. We are looking towards what's next in the electric department. It's not a survey of whether or not we should sell. That's not a discussion here. It's the survey of what do we do now to make sure our electric utility is the best utility for our community. And so I'd really appreciate if any of the utility users can log on and take that survey. You can go to sewardsurvey.com and make sure your voice is heard about how you'd like to see the next decades of the city of Seward electric utility or Seward utility move forward, and just highlighting a lot of the different opportunities that we have as a utility. Other than that, I don't really have much else to report unless you guys have any questions.
Okay, Mr. Bickling, do you have anything to report?
I will, just because I did get a question about it, I will give a little bit of an update, which is kind of a non-update on the Jesse Lee home progress. Right now, there's been some questions about where we're at, and nothing has really changed at this point. So they're just ADEC and the engineers. We did approve the work to be done, and they were just finalizing a few details in the work plan. But this time of year is super busy for people doing field work. It's also super busy for people, the ADEC, because they're processing all that stuff. And so whenever anything goes back and forth, I think it just gets stuck at the end of the line, and then you'll see like an email go back across, another like 2 weeks later, and then another email goes back across the next 2 weeks later. So that's just kind of where we're sitting right now. We're hoping that we will be able to get those cores, those cores drilled sooner than later. I think they were going to schedule that, but the ADEC wanted them to do a couple more things or collect a couple more types of samples that they were kind of going over. So I will keep you posted.
I was one of the ones that asked about that because I have a group of second graders going into third grade. They're really interested in the playground that was going to be built there. So,
As they should be.
Yes, as they should be.
Funnily, I said that the Dan TV Trailblazers Run is before, but we have another meeting before then. I apparently think it's August already. I apologize.
I was wondering about that. Questions from council? Wow. I guess I don't either. I've asked all my questions already. All right, moving along, City Clerk, you've got something on page 30 of the packet, right?
Yes, thank you. We have a 3-page report in the packet. The first item is in regard to the October city election. I know that's a long ways off, but the application packets are now out to be on City Council. You can apply to be a council member, or you can apply to be the mayor. And those packets are on the city website, and we'll have printed copies in the clerk's office. And the filing period is August 1st through August 15th. So come see us and we'll help you out, and we can notarize the declaration page as well. The next page in the report is on the Obihiro Sister City High School Exchange. It just features the profiles of the 4 students who are heading our way, as well as the 4 Seward students who are going to Japan, and the Obihiro students will be here in 2 days. So it is happening, so it's pretty exciting. And then the third page is just a little tribute I did to Ozzy Osbourne. It's hard to believe he's gone.
And those are that's your selection, right?
Those are my
If you want to
top
argue
picks,
with him.
and I was hoping to generate some citywide discussion on the best Ozzy songs.
There you go. It's not all that, city stuff. And then in relation to the exchange, I'll be getting to have lunch with the students, and then we're going on the tour of the murals. Well, I'm assuming we're driving again, because it takes quite a while to see all of the murals, but they were, last year, I guess it was last year we did it, and they were very interested in all of them, so I'm looking forward to that. Anything else from you guys? Guess not. Questions for the clerk? Okay, flipping over, we have a presentation and it's on the Small Business Development Center annual report. And we've got Cliff Cochran on the phone maybe, and then Kellyanne is here. So I'll turn it over to you guys. These are usually about 10-minute presentations.
Yeah, it shouldn't be longer than that. Oh, there it is.
Excellent. I'm online. Can you hear me?
Yes.
And we have some slides as well. All right, I can just go for it. Y'all ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, perfect. All right, so first slide. So, good evening. I'm Cliff Cochran with the Alaska SBDC here at Kelly and Cabaretta down in the front row, and we're here to provide our 2025 annual report for all of Kellyanne's great work. Slide 2. So, about the Alaska SBDC. So,
Is he supposed to have a slide?
Since
Deb?
1986
Yes.
with
Cliff, we're not getting the slides yet, okay? We're not seeing them, so they're working on it.
Turn up the
Okay,
volume, please.
I can hold up for a moment.
Yeah, it won't count against your time.
All right, appreciate it.
And then Chris, is there any way to turn the volume up? Or do we want to bring the microphone over the speaker?
I can.
See if Dorothy can get that
Yeah.
polygon to the max.
Okay.
That
That's right
should be
here.
good. Cliff, we were told you were going to share your screen.
Okay, I can do that, absolutely. So let me pull up my window here. And here, screen. There we go. All right.
Nice. Looks good.
Okay, we got something.
That is full. All right, perfect. You get this fired up. Oh, that's the wrong way. Okay, let's see. Let's see. One moment. Sorry for that. Let's see, rearrange. Okay. And now. Okay. Does that look good?
Yeah.
Okay, so full screen. So again, appreciate it. So good evening, I'm Cliff Cochran, Campus Center Director for the Alaska Small Business Development Center, and we have Kellyanne Cabaretta with us as well. She's our Steward Business Advisor. She's in our 4th year, and we're here to provide our 2025 annual report. So since 1986, the Alaska SBC has grown into a network of centers across the state, including specialized business assistance programs. The Alaska SBC is federally funded by the Small Business Administration with matching funds from the state of Alaska and then partner boroughs, cities, and other supporters. The Alaska SBC is a statewide program hosted by the University of Alaska Business Enterprise Institute and is accredited by America's SBC network. So there are SBCs all over the country and in some of our territories, and we are nationally accredited. So provide across the state, we provide no-cost confidential business advisory services. That's our big ticket item, especially in Seward and Kellyanne. We also have no-cost and low-cost business workshops and no-cost business tools and resources. Tonight's presentation is going to focus on the no-cost business advising in Seward provided by Ms. Kellyanne. Here's a look at our topics for assistance in Seward for the last calendar year. So startup assistance was our main topic. A third of the assistance provided in Seward was the folks starting new businesses. Second was folks looking to buy and sell a business at 22%. Third, general management, so folks looking for help troubleshooting their business. That was the third biggest topic. Fourth was financing capital. Kellyanne helped a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners get access to capital to either start or grow their businesses, and that came in fourth at 12.5%. And then lastly, we had a number of other topics that filled the last 13%. Some of those include legal issues, and so while we're not qualified to provide legal advice, we help entrepreneurs and business owners know that it's a good time to get legal assistance and where legal advice is needed. Here's a look at the top industries that have received support from the last SBC this last year in Seward. It's great because it fits kind of the mold of what Seward's made of. And so the top two were accommodations and then food services as kind of a near even split at 24% and change. The third highest group is tour guides at 12%. And then we had a fairly even kind of spread of retailers, entertainment services, manufacturers, real estate, construction. So that's kind of an overview of the industries receiving assistance from the SBC, specifically in Seward. Here's a look at the last calendar year of the types of meeting types for Kellyanne in Seward. Overwhelmingly, 71% were in person, and this just kind of reinforces the fact that it's great to have Kellyanne in Seward where folks can actually work with a person and not have to go online or travel a great distance to get support. So 71% of support was provided in person in Seward. So that's a big deal. But we've even had two folks where we've had to provide split it up where maybe the buyer's working with Kellyanne, the seller's working with us, and there's always a big pull where I want to work with the person, I want to work with Kellyanne, I want to work with the person in Seward. So we have to split up the confidentiality in those cases. But everyone loves Kellyanne, and she does a great job over there in Seward, and this kind of shows why. And so we're taking a look at resources. So we also have proprietary business tools. So we have financial projection models, business plan guides, focus toolkits, a business evaluation guide. We have a lot of excellent resources that Kellyanne has mastered or built in some cases. She's built our buy-sell workshop. And so we have over 80 workshops that are no cost or low cost. In some cases, we have a professional adjunct come and teach these workshops, and we split their fees amongst the users. But we try to keep things as low cost or no cost as possible. Here's a look at some of our resources. So we have over 700. We have IBEW and Profit Cent subscriptions. The reports from IBEW value $1,000 each. They're updated every 6 to 12 months, and they cover hundreds of industries that provide the latest and greatest from that industry. We also are subscription to Profit Cent. They're the national leader in industry benchmarking, and they provide racial analysis, and we have some advanced business valuation capabilities, and those reports go for almost $2,800. So these are resources that are excellent, that are still kind of ahead of AI, what AI can do, and so these are excellent resources that we have at the SBC that can give folks really the best look at their industry. Here's a look at the results. The last 3 years in Seward only, Kellyanne's done an amazing job, and she's working very hard. We're very proud of the work she's done in Seward, and so this kind of look, almost 1,600 hours of clients, 186 client buys, 36 new businesses started or bought. She's supported 566 jobs. This is a big one. She's helped folks achieve $18.8 million in capital infusion in terms of loans or in some cases grants. Business owners that have worked with Kellyanne have reported $6.3 million increase in sales from when they started the SBC to when they took the survey. And Kellyanne still has a remarkable 100% positive client satisfaction survey rate 3.5 years in now. So that's pretty incredible. Here's a few quotes that clients provided based on what Kellyanne's done. She's been amazing, and I won't touch on all of these, but yeah, she's done an amazing job, and business owners and entrepreneurs absolutely love her in Seward. Has a ton of information, outstanding support. Helped me find a place to start when I was lost. She's been an amazing part of the business community over there. Here's a look at metrics, kind of how they've grown over the past 5 years now. And so we hired Kellyanne at the start of 2022, and you can see having her there, there's been a remarkable increase in metrics. So yeah, we're very proud of the work she's done, and especially in the capital infusion bit. That's the one area that's really tough. But the other ones, you can spend a lot of time helping folks with their businesses, or if you help a few large businesses to get the job supported a bit, but to help folks get capital and convince the bank to invest in the community, that's a big deal. And you can see her numbers have gone up significantly in the last 3 years, 22, 23, and 24. Kellyanne has also been a big part of IBEW Week, formerly Startup Week, and so this last year she organized these events for Seward. Seward had the most events outside of Anchorage and Fairbanks, and so it's fantastic to have, for a small town, to have almost like a big city type Startup Week, and Kellyanne did a great job leading that this last year. Here's some success stories of folks that Kellyanne have started. So all work is confidential, but some folks agree to sign releases that can share their stories. These are some of our favorites. So obviously Kellyanne helped with the Breeze In purchase, and Nicole said she was amazing to work with. She helped us understand the value of the business, and more importantly, helped the bank understand. The projections that Kellyanne provided were instrumental in convincing the bank that we were worth taking the risk on for a significant loan. And Superlook Fraud said that Kellyanne's advice was invaluable. Remarkably, our loan was granted in record time and everything fell into place perfectly. Our experience with the Alaska SBC was incredibly positive. Kellyanne's guidance was key to making our dream a reality. We couldn't have done it without her. And so here's a look at our projected budget to give you an idea of kind of where the money's coming from. And so it's great that with this program, they got a lot of federal dollars coming into the community. So the budget's about $120,000. Half of that comes from federal state at $60,000. The city provides $50,000, and then about $10,000 is provided to Kansas overall. So that's a look at the split of the funding for this position. And here's some information on how we can help. And so here's our contact information. You can join us on socials. There's a QR for our newsletter. And then, of course, if you go to our website, you can register for our services. So that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions tonight?
Questions for Clerk? Or Kellyanne, who is actually here?
Yes, I'm here.
She's here. Not seeing any questions, but those are fantastic numbers. We're really pleased. Oh, yeah, well, of course. No. Councilmember Barnwell.
Hi, Kellyanne.
Hi.
I'm just curious. I know you guys mentioned Royal Caribbean, and they're kind of reaching out to you guys to figure out, kind of anticipating what their needs or our needs are going to be going forward. Can you talk about it at all, or is that just still kind of pretty nebulous?
Yeah, so that...
Kellyanne, could you come up?
Oh, yeah, of course. So I think it's still very much in the works with a kind of plan to roll out this program during IBEW week, which is happening at the end of September this year, so a little earlier. But Royal Caribbean is looking to invest in small businesses here in Seward and has chosen my position at SBC to be one of the many key stakeholders in kind of rolling out that program. The city itself is also involved. AbTech will also be another key member. But yeah, looking to finance independent small businesses here in our community, and I hope to be able to announce it during IBEW week this year.
So they're not buying the community. They're not going to own these communities. So they're just encouraging different.
No, from my understanding, it would be similar to a grant. So it's going to be investing in winning or participating small business in the community annually.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Anyone else? Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Cliff. It's good to have the report.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay.
Good evening.
Thank you. Okay, this brings us to our actual business tonight. We've got 6 resolutions under new business. So if you're ready, we will begin. First is Resolution 2025-068. I would ask for a motion to approve and a second, please.
I move for the approval of Resolution 2025-068.
And it's been seconded. Mr. Clerk, would you please read this title?
Resolution 2025-068, authorizing the city manager to purchase a new breathing air compressor from Western Firefighting Equipment for $59,067.67, with a 10% contingency for an amount not to exceed $64,974.44 and appropriating funds.
Okay, and you'll find that on page 33 of the packet. Administration, what you got to say about that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This resolution would allow us to purchase a new breathing air compressor. Ours is over 18 years old, and we were anticipating being able to get it to over 20 years old. and budgeting for it in the next budget cycle, but the end of life came a little sooner than anticipated. So we are hoping to move forward with this purchase, and I know Chief Kreitz is here to answer any specific questions you may have.
Okay, so it potentially breathed its last, right? Okay. Sorry, there's all sorts of things I could have said. Are there questions from council that we'd like to address to the chief, or any discussion? No? Ready to vote? I think we're ready to vote.
Voting on the approval of Resolution 2025-068. Barnwell,
Yes.
Finch,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
and Mayor McClure.
Yes.
That resolution has been approved.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Resolution 2025-069. When you're ready, Mr. Clerk, could you please read that?
Resolution 2025-069. Authorizing the city manager to purchase a new Can-Am side-by-side 9 SSA from Team CC in the amount of $40,909 and a Q-Tech EMS-R patient mover from MTech in the amount of $5,745 with a 10% contingency not to exceed $51,319.40 and appropriating funds.
Okay, and you'll find this on page 40 of the packet. Administration, what you got to say about this one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this equipment is a purchase that we had discussed during the budget cycle briefly, but opted to cut for that round. But then after some recent incidents throughout the community and speaking with our fire chief, we decided to bring it forward tonight for your consideration. I'm going to invite Chief Kreitz up to speak to it as well. And just to clarify too, it is a side-by-side and an EMS-R patient mover. So maybe if you want to highlight a little bit about what that patient mover aspect of that is, and then available to answer any questions if you have them.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, we've had just a growing number of incidents that we've needed this at least 7 times within this last year. The Jeep trail is getting really bad. The Jeep itself is not doing so well getting up and down it. It wasn't designed to haul patients, flat, like if you're injured, you have to be on a backboard. We literally have to take this back seat out, put them in, and ratchet strap them in, and half of their bodies hang out the back of the Jeep. So it's just not an ideal or safe situation, whereas this thing is made to actually transport a patient, in a horizontal position, up terrain like this. We also had a little wildfire out at Bogdan Beach 2 weekends ago that we needed to haul equipment down to the beach to put out. Could have used it there. We've had several mud flats, but the snagging area, fishermen getting injured, breaking ankles, twisting ankles, bats going out. The last 7 times we've been using our volunteers' personal vehicles, their personal side-by-sides. And this past winter we had one that was way off of the Jeep trail that we had to use a personal side-by-side to rescue them. So just the ever-increasing need. It's kind of one of those, why does a place like Seward not, why does the fire department in Seward not have one of these pieces of equipment? People are venturing more and more off trail. They're going places that we just can't get to. The July 4th rescue, or July 4th Creek rescue. The people who got further up said no doubt if we had had this type of equipment, we could have gotten much closer, faster. That was, again, by the stars lining up that helicopter was willing to help us, or I don't think we would be having this conversation. I'm quite certain it would have been a fatality. So having equipment like this, it's also a dual role. It does have a plow, so we can help plow the sidewalks in the winter and our driveway. And so again, it's a patient mover. It'll be available if the police department needs to use it, if they're searching for someone in the woods. So it's a multi-faceted vehicle.
Okay, that was a good explanation. Do you have a place to store it?
We can put it in the shed for right now.
Oh, so there is room, storage room. Thanks. Questions for the chief? Councilmember Finch.
Thanks, Member. So this is replacing the Jeep? Are you getting rid of the Jeep, or is this just another accessory?
We're not going to get rid of the Jeep. I think we'll just let the Jeep phase itself out and not sink a lot of money into it. It's in pretty decent condition, but it's not long before, we've got to make a decision. Do we replace the Jeep with another Jeep, and I don't think that's the appropriate tool for us. But when to say it goes on auction, I don't know. It's still decent. Go get around her, and we find sometimes our volunteers come and pick it up. If they don't feel comfortable driving a fire truck, they can drive a much smaller vehicle.
Go ahead.
Couldn't a patient mover be adapted to fit into the back of the Jeep and save the city $40,000?
That would not fit in the back of the Jeep's too narrow. And I'm not sure if the payload would hold it either. Like I said, the Jeep's struggling to get up that. I don't know if you've walked it lately, but it's in pretty bad shape. And this is actually a heck of a deal. This is a government price. I can tell you, I just bought a side-by-side myself, and I paid way more than this for it. So they give us a really good deal being a government.
Other questions? Councilmember Barnwell.
Do you have a trailer for this vehicle, or are we looking at a trailer also?
Talking to a couple other departments, we may be able to borrow / have another trailer that's available in the city that we can
And would you be towing it with, probably not the Jeep?
Yeah, the Jeep would not tow that. No, we would tow it with either one of our command trucks or the Dodge that we still have.
And what year was the Jeep?
So 2006.
Sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
Does Bear Creek have a side-by-side?
They have a Ranger, the first gen Ranger 4-seater side-by-side, and so it has a very low ground clearance, and so it can't go up the Jeep Trail or up 4th of July Creek because it's such a low clearance. This has got the maximum ground clearance, 18 inches, and so it'll pretty much go over everything. It's just bottoming out on rocks and boulders.
Probably one more. So if it's in the shed, is that not heated, or is the shed heated?
It's heated.
It is heated. Okay. And that Can-Am, is that a 4-cylinder gas engine, or
It's a 1,000 cc gas.
4-stroke?
Yeah.
You've seen Oz.
Yeah.
That's a big motor.
Yeah.
Councilmember Finch.
Thank you. I mean, with the amount of money we've been spending this past year on vehicles, I'd like to see this held off till next budget session. I mean, we're chucking money. We got a budget, and it seems like this year everybody's buying new vehicles that weren't in the budget. It'd be nice to see this just get put over into your next budget session, because we've been doing it for 30-something years with the Jeep up that trail. Maybe we can go up there and do some maintenance on that trail.
I understand your concern, but as the fire chief, I have to come to you when I see a public safety threat, and I have to tell you I have a solution for a threat that we have multiple examples of, and we're not able to handle those threats. So my job as the fire chief to present that to council.
And I understand that, and that's why I'm saying, can we put this on the budget? Because we're just, outside of the budget, we're just buying vehicles, it seems, lately.
I would like to clarify too, we actually have only purchased one vehicle outside of the budget. Every vehicle that has come to council in 2025, besides the forklift for the electric department, was budgeted for in our 2025-26 budget.
So
This one is not, but to clarify, within that scope, everything beyond the forklift was just purchased through the electric department enterprise, and will save us money in the long run. Sorry, Taylor.
I mean, after the incident out there on 4th of July Creek, I had people saying, pay attention to what the fire department asked for. And that's what I got phone calls on this today about. So it's like, can we just put it into the next budget? The Jeep will make it till then, I'm sure. We've been doing it for 30 years with the Jeep Trail and all the other incidences. Why can't we just throw this in the budget pile?
The Jeep Trail is not the only place that we're responding to. That's what I'm trying to explain. I can't
understand
get the Jeep up a Fognet Beach. I can't get the Jeep down 4th of July Creek. We're having instances in areas that I haven't been before, and it's getting more and more common. So that's the need for the urgency. Plus, you got to order it. 6 months probably to get it. So I'm trying to get it purchased as soon as we can, so we can place it into service and try to help the public out.
Councilmember.
Yeah, Does the motor pool, does this fall normally under the motor pool? Would this be something that the motor pool would be involved with?
Yeah, this is a purchase through the motor pool and
Okay.
would usually fall under as such. Mm-hmm.
How does that affect the balance of the motor pool?
Currently our motor pool balance is about $1.7 million. So
this
we
is
have
50,000.
we have the funds in the account. And annually, we get payments throughout the entire general fund of about $480,000. Okay, Sully's giving me a nod. And then the motor pool also gets loan payments from a no interest loan from the building of the animal shelter. So we drew down in 2022, I believe, about $1 million to build that animal shelter. So.
Okay, that answers a lot of my concerns. Just these. Any other comments? I know I broke a leg bone up there, and I managed to hobble down on my own, but it would have been nice to have a transport. Yes.
Please call us next time.
Well, I'm tough, right? Councilmember Clerk.
No, I just wanted to make a comment as far as questioning the necessity of the vehicle. And like you said, there have been several incidents, and being a volunteer for the fire department, I can see this from a different side. You know, what really brings probably the forefront to my mind is not even necessarily the 4th of July creek, but it was the drowning that we had, that we couldn't get out there quick enough to her. It was out there when she was out there fishing.
Maybe I'll get a chance to use it.
Help.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Go ahead, Councilmember Fitch.
I'm not going to get into my history of off-roading, but a Can-Am 6x would have been, that would have been a $40,000 destruction. It would have been sunk in the mud, and the bearings would have been burnt up with the silt. So I understand your statement, but a lot of us were thinking about a fast response boat for something like that.
And to answer that, personal side-by-sides went out there on other occasions, and so it is hard enough to hold the weight of these machines.
We're ready to vote. Seeing nods, Mr. Clerk, go ahead.
Voting on the approval of Resolution 2025-069. Kreitz,
Yes.
Finch,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Barnwell,
Yes.
and Mayor McClure.
Yes.
That resolution has been approved.
Okay, thank you. We hope we don't have to use it. Next, we have Resolution 2025-070. When you're ready, Mr. Clerk, could you read that, please?
Resolution 2025-070, authorizing the city manager to accept a proposal from Metco to prep and pave a portion of Phoenix Road for an amount not to exceed $165,000 and appropriating funds.
Okay, you'll find this on page 50. I'd need a motion to approve in a second, please.
I'll move for the approval of Resolution 2025-070.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Administration.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this resolution would authorize us to accept a proposal from Metco to prep and pave the 930-foot section of Phoenix Drive where our city pavement ends and the new Hilltop subdivision development is putting in pavement of their own. And so this paving, because of the work they're doing up there, has an economy of scale for doing that, and we wouldn't be able to achieve this low of a price to accomplish that due to the mob and demob cost that paving would be. So we were really excited to see this come through and are looking to save a lot of money in the long run because we wouldn't have to maintain 930 feet of gravel road up there anymore.
That's the thing. Okay, so coming back to us, questions, comments on this? It apparently is a quite reasonable amount of money for this. I asked that question because, seems like a lot, but paving costs a lot, and this is reasonable. So, Councilmember Barnwell.
I didn't see a map of this, but so it's basically when you go to the top of Phoenix, it rolls around. So it basically wraps around to the bottom. Because I know that Phoenix.
So basically, if you go, where doorway ties in?
Yeah.
Just a little bit to the north of that is where the pavement ends. And so it would take that continuation and take that all the way up and through until Olympia ties in.
Oh, okay.
Up top there, so it's that 900. And so, and the thing is too, is that's actually going to become more of a little bit of a thoroughfare, because that will be one of the ways that neighborhood exits out for there. And so just the amount of traffic that they're going to see over that will be pretty significant. And if we can get it paved, it just so much saves a lot of money. So, yeah.
Sorry. I think that pavement actually wraps to the top. It rolls around.
It just goes.
No.
There's pavement to the left.
The other side.
Oh,
The other side.
Yeah, the pictures are
So,
dated.
yeah, I know.
You got to get out more.
No, actually, I walk it all the
I
time.
know. That's funny.
Yeah.
It's the mountain, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Councilmember Clerk.
This will come down behind Mountain Haven. Am I correct?
I'd have to look on a map to see exactly, but yeah, I think that does wrap behind Mountain Haven. I think that
Because yeah, that's all dirt road
the reason I'm
down
kind of, yeah,
there.
so but Mountain Haven will be. I'm trying to think if the hilltop area actually covers the Mountain Haven, and I think it ties in right. It'll tie in right behind the high school, is where this paving will tie in and then come on down through. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? We're ready to vote, Mr. Clerk.
Voting on the approval of Resolution 2025-070. Osenga,
Yes.
Brights,
Yes.
Finch,
Yes.
Barnwell,
Yes.
and Mayor McClure.
Yes.
That resolution has been approved.
Okay, next, in sequential order, we have Resolution 2025-071. Could you please read this, Mr. Clerk?
Resolution 2025-071, authorizing the city manager to purchase a backup pump replacement with DXP Alaska Pump and Supply for the wastewater lift station number 3 in the amount of $102,793 with a 10% contingency not to exceed $113,072.30 and appropriating funds.
Okay, and I'd ask for a motion to approve in a second, please.
I'll move for the approval of 2025-071.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Administration.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You may all remember at the previous council meeting, I told the story of the 4th of July pump mayhem. This is the resolution to purchase a replacement pump, and I'll invite Doug up to speak a little bit to it. I believe Doug will explain a little bit about the process of sending the old one up to get looked at as well.
I get to come back. It's been a while sitting in front of council here. Just to give you a little background, Lift Station 3 is right down here by the falls. Everything from the city of Seward on this side ends up going through Lift Station 3, and that's where we have the pressurized line that pumps it out to Lowell Point to the lagoon out there. So everything we have goes through that. We have 2 pumps in that lift station. When one goes down, we're very, very nervous. That went down on the 4th of July during high demand that Saturday before. We do keep one in stock just for that reason, because if the other one were to happen to go down, everything backs up through town. We have no way to move it. It either does that or we start opening valves to let it go right into the bay. That's your 2 options. So this is a very, very important lift station for us. The cost on them, we bought one 15 years ago, 70-some thousand back then. They're expensive. It's the biggest pump we have. The other lift stations are much smaller, less expensive to go through, but we do the same on those others. It's just not a good practice to not have one on hand. So what we've got with this is another new one, and on the last council meeting that showed the pictures, you can see the old one as it came out and the new one that they had ready to go in. The old one's it's 30 years old. It's been down in that sewer system for 30 years. We try to rebuild them. We've rebuilt that one at least once, I think twice. Where we have an issue sometimes is when we send it up to rebuild, can they even get the parts for it? So we're sending it up to them to look at that to see if we can get the parts for it. But the other thing is the casing on it. The longer that casing sits in there, the more it's a corrosive environment and the more pitting that goes on and weakens that whole shell of it. they're pretty good about telling us, no, we're not going to rebuild that for you, but we're also taking that chance to pay for a rebuild. If we can, we certainly do it, especially on a newer pump. We're going to send this up, have them look at it, and we may still even have them do it. You know, we have to order, there's just a long lead time on these, and it's a long lead time for them to even find if they can get parts. So we're going to order this one, provided it's all passed here at council. We will send the other one still up. We're waiting. We had a little snafu with our delivery folks, had a problem here on a wreck, and so they'll get it up here in this week or next. So that'll be good to get it up there. We'll then get a good view on can we do something. So then we'll have to make the decision. We'll be back to you on, is this is it 50,000? Is it 20,000? What's worthwhile to do it? If it's 50,000, that's half the price. But now are we taking a chance on an older model when we could put that 50,000, say, to a brand new one on the next? So those are all decisions we'll all get to kind of go through and figure out. But right now, we definitely need to get one going and make sure we have a good one here. And I'd answer any questions.
Yeah, questions for Doug? We don't want it to fail.
Yeah, me either.
I was trying to figure out why a high wind event would have anything to do with a pump failure.
It really didn't. You know, but, you know, I will say kudos to the crew on how quickly they were able to respond and get that thing going, and kudos to Marathon Electric. He was able to come in that Sunday morning. We got it all prepped ready and got the lift going, and he unwired and rewired, and we had it going just in another day. So pretty impressive, and just good work and good hands that did a lot of good stuff.
That's good. Sounds like we need it. Anything else? We're ready to vote, Mr. Clerk?
Voting on the approval of Resolution 2025-071. Barnwell,
Yes.
Kreitz,
Yes.
Osenga,
Yes.
Finch,
Yeah.
and Mayor McClure.
Yes.
That resolution has been approved.
Now we have Resolution 2025-072. Are you ready, Mr. Clerk? Could you please read that?
Resolution 2025-072, approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Seward and the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers, IBEW, Local 1547.
Okay, and you'll find that on page 65. I need a motion to approve and a second, please.
I move for the approval of Resolution 2025-072.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Administration.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We are excited to bring forth the good faith negotiated collective bargaining agreement between the City of Seward and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers for a contract that goes through June 30th, 2029, which is really exciting to me because then it switches the times. Currently, both of our unions negotiate every 3 years, not the same 3 years, so this is very exciting for me. But some key changes in here. We did change that term of agreement. We see an increase to standby pay from 2 to 3 hours. We have a raise in the clothing allowance, wage adjustments across the 4 years of the agreement, and then pension contribution updates. And we're really excited about the provisions in here and the operational stability and the ability to recruit and retain a skilled workforce that this will bring forth. And Brian is here if you have any questions on any specific details.
Okay. Council, any questions on this? Yes, Councilmember Brennan.
Go ahead, thanks for coming. Thank you. I'm 66 and I have a broken back. Do you think I can?
Oh, sign up at the hall.
Sit on their lap.
Yeah.
I have a question. Like, what do you think the how much money are we talking about for the city for this new contract? Do we have a kind of rough estimate on that?
So in FY26, we'll make an adjustment of about $150,000 for the budget that year across the board.
And does that include we're not to the point where we're picking up those four extra recruits, or is that a different conversation?
That's a different conversation. So that would be if we are fully staffed next year, that would be the adjustment. So if these upgraded wages allow us to find and hire a fourth lineman, that would be the updated budget line item for the next budget, FY26.
Okay, so ultimately you would have 4 linemen, and then you would have 2 to 4 recruits training.
Two.
This is what we talked about. We, as far as the recruits language, we've agreed to do a letter of understanding on that. We didn't have time to really get everything ironed out with IBEW and NECA in this 1 month period. So we have a good relationship with them. So we're going to work on a letter of understanding. We had proposed 2 recruits over the life of the contract, starting as apprentices. And so that's what we proposed. We have some ability to do that now. Is why we pulled back. I just think nobody really knew we had the ability to do that. And so I've got to get that. I want to see in writing what the apprenticeship school will allow us to do, and then the hall agreed to support us in the direction we were going. We discussed it a while ago.
Which, just to clarify, that is our goal and intent to bring forward 2 hopefully local recruits and apprentices in our utility, so that we can have more local involvement and not a rotating, but a pipeline, yeah.
We need to put some people in there.
Yeah.
It's like a 4 or 5 year apprenticeship, so you're probably looking at 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to turn out, the first one might turn out 6 years from now, and the next one, 2 years after that, and then you see the guys we have now be timing out about them. So, yeah.
Cool. Anything else from council? Appreciate the efforts of negotiations. We ready? Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Voting on the approval of Resolution 2025-072. Barnwell?
Yes.
Finch?
Yes.
Kreitz?
Yes.
Osenga?
Yes.
And Mayor McClure.
Yes.
That resolution has been approved.
And lastly, on resolutions, we have Resolution 2025-073. Mr. Clerk, could you please read that?
Resolution 2025-073, approving the 2025 Wholesale Power Contract and the Joint Use and Operations and Maintenance Agreement between the City of Seward Electric System and Chugach Electric Association.
Okay, and you'll find that on page 135 of the packet. And once again, I'd ask for a motion to approve in a second, please.
I'll move for the approval of Resolution 2025-073.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Kreitz. Okay, administration.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We are excited to present the Wholesale Electric Power Agreement with Chugach Electric. And I think my favorite part about the agenda statement here is the 5 things that were successfully negotiated by Mr. Hickey in this contract. I'll give him the floor to explain those 5 things and more if he so chooses.
May not be
You only
extra
get
fun.
5.
Yeah, you only get 5.
Okay, I'm just winging it. I think on the joint use and operations and maintenance side, I think the most important thing is we regain control of the expenditures that were being made on transmission maintenance between Dave's Creek and Lawing. In the previous agreement, Chugach could do whatever they want, and they just sent us the bill. In the new agreement, they're required to work with us to develop a 5-year O&M plan for that section, and then we agree on what's going to be done, and before it's done, we have the opportunity to do it in-house, or we can contract for it, or as a backstop, they can do it or contract for it. So we have a lot more control, and we won't have these things where all of a sudden we have a large bill for right-of-way clearing that we didn't have anything to say about. And that was how the old agreement had been written. So we were able to kind of back that up. We also reduced the term on that agreement. The old agreement was a 25-year agreement. This one now matches the joint use O&M matches the term of the power purchase agreement. So I think that's an important thing from an operational standpoint. We also got language in there. They had the ability to interrupt Seward for any reason, and yet we had been paying the fully allocated transmission costs. So they can interrupt it. They can interrupt us for a transmission outage, but we were paying for it. So what we've got in there now, they're no longer allowed to interrupt us for transmission outages. They can interrupt us for fuel supply and generation. And we have a discounted rate because we have our own fuel supply and generation down here. And so we kind of aligned that. I don't know that they've ever actually interrupted us for a transmission outage, but what I do see coming as Cook Inlet natural gas is in decline. The way things have worked for all these years is really in flux. And I think it's likely that you may see more of those types of things in the future. So we have a backstop there that we're not going to have to run generation on top of paying for transmission for a transmission outage. I think that was important. We also put language in there that formalized what had been kind of a practice for many years, where when there was an outage between Long and Dave's Creek, Seward would either backfeed Chugach through our transmission line and their distribution. The line power would essentially come down the transmission line from Dave's Creek up by Cooper Landing, go through the transformer and back up and feed their loads at Moose Pass and on North. And we were credited for that on our bill, but it wasn't in the agreement. In addition, when we run generation down here, we would serve their load and we would get a credit on our bill. Now they will pay us for the fuel costs that we're doing on ours, because the way it worked before, we were just getting credited at what they were charging us. So that happens fairly, once or twice a year. The importance of all that, though, is that in negotiating the RTO language that included our transmission and backbone, it's important that people understand that we are actually pushing power into the grid and being used as a grid asset. That was all happening just sort of on a handshake behind the scenes. And that made it really difficult to negotiate with the other utilities that our transmission should be part of the backbone. I'll finish this now. The importance of it being part of the backbone is that there's a considerable savings. Most of our transmission costs for those line sections will be uplifted to the rest of the rail belt. So, we're looking at probably 1.3 is a conservative number, million a year our transmission costs will go down once the RTO tariff is approved. So that saves us about 1.3 million a year. But it's important to get that in the contract, because I knew we did it, but trying to tell everybody else in the rail belt that, they're like, I knew we did it because we did it at Chugach, but no one else knows that. So now we've got all that. And the last two things, we did get an agreement so that they've agreed to negotiate a specific rate for cruise ships. If the cruise ship terminal is in service, the shore power is in service during this agreement, they've agreed to negotiate a rate that there'll be no discrimination between Whittier and Seward. We'll get the same rate for our shore power that they're giving to the guys in Seward, so we don't have some offset between the two communities that might incent someone to go to another port. Lastly, we'll have the ability to, once the 12 megawatt 2-hour battery is in service, we'll have the ability to have them dispatch that when it's not being used for the cruise ships. We'll be able to sell those reserves into the grid to either Chugach or other utilities, and they'll do the dispatch for us on an hourly basis. So that's also something, the revenue from that will come in and lower the overall cost of the power.
Sweet.
I know it's probably a lot of technical stuff.
That's a lot. Everyone blazing.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm like,
I can just see it out there.
yeah.
But good. Questions? Councilmember Brown.
Kind of fractured questions, but I just kind of it's a 12. Basically, it's a 12-year contract, right? 333.
No, it's a 3-year with 2 1-year extensions.
Oh,
It'll be 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I thought it was a 3.
No, it's 3 with 2 1-year extensions. It's mutually agreed extensions.
So only 5 years.
Yeah.
So isn't that pretty short, an agreement for something like that?
That's what the last one was. Things are in flux right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go long right now. There's a lot going to change in the next 10 years. As Cook Inlet natural gas either gets very, very expensive, or the AKLNG pipeline comes in, and potentially there's gas as far as Whittier. Who knows? Maybe someday there'll be gas in Seward, and that would change everything. There's just a lot. I wouldn't lock in that way.
So to Cook Inlet They are doing some more exploration this year, right? So does anybody have any expectations of that being of anything of substance there?
You know, if everything that we believe could be produced out of Cook Inlet, you know, it's a Band-Aid. I mean, it kicks this problem down the road a few years.
Yeah.
It's just not, you know, I think what you're really going to see is we're going to import LNG. The rail belt is going to import LNG. Question is how much. There's two proposals out there. Chugach has worked with Marathon on the old the old LNG export facility over in Kiski. I think Enstar has a different deal they're looking at. So at some point we're going to start importing LNG, probably from be from the Pacific market, which is controlled primarily by the Chinese and the Japanese. They drive the pricing in that. It comes out of Australia Northwest Shelf and the Emirates. So we are way removed. I think what we will find is we had little but some control over Cook Inlet natural gas pricing. We'll have it will just be on a basis of world market. Now that's not going to happen all at once. Cook Inlet gas isn't going to go away on one day. It's going to go way over a decade, and so LNG imports will increase, and obviously renewable. People look at hydro projects, small hydro and stuff, some of which we have around here will become more cost effective. Things that weren't cost effective historically, you got to kind of turn all those around now because Cook Inlet natural gas was just so cheap for so long.
Okay, I'm almost done. You just mentioned hydro. Are we looking into hydro?
Yes, we are. I'll make a commitment. What's going to be by the year end? It might be first quarter next year. Sort of a strategic generation plan to look at some of the small hydro around here, and I really think we ought to look at that and get a structured plan and start trying to think about how could we get those developed. All they have to pencil, and I'm not saying they do pencil. I'm just saying, at some point you got to get a plan where here are the 5 projects. We're going to start with this one. We're going to run that to ground, get it done. We're going to move to the next one, and if they're cost effective, or if we can make them cost effective with grant funding, then build it.
Okay. And just to be clear on the battery systems, the shorter power, there are people in the public that feel, well, what's the point of that battery system, short power? It won't last that long, and it's not doing as much good. By the way, did you say 12 megawatts?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was that big. So the idea is we're kind of backfilling the grid and getting paid for that, right? For that constant power source in the winter, for instance, when it's not plugged in. Is that kind of the idea? Part of that?
Well, the actual idea for the battery is to support the shore power grid under the EPA grant.
Right.
And what that will do is, the ships that are going to come in could be as high as 14 or 15 megawatts. Our peak load in August is 8. So the ships will be a much larger load than we are. So what we would be able to do is manage a few things. One, manage the increase and manage our peak, because that will, depending on how negotiations go on the shore power rate, that could drive our demand, right? You want to be able to shave that, right, if they're coming on. So you could use the battery to actually shave that peak. Yeah. And it's a maximum of 12 megawatts for 2 hours, but you could get 6 megawatts for 4 hours. Or, it's battery, right?
Yeah.
So that would be how it would be used during, from May 15th to October 15th when the cruise ships were in. We use it primarily to manage the increased cruise ship load on the Seward's rates and Seward's electric usage from a demand and energy perspective.
So somebody doesn't come in, it would be like coming in, walking the house, turning all the lights on real quick.
Yeah,
just
and it pulls the voltage down, right? I mean, when depending on, and so that's the part of it. Now, in the intervening period between October and May, we can actually use that for a number of. There's something called spinning reserves, which in the rail belt, each utility is required to have spinning and unloaded the equivalent of its share of the largest single generating contingency. So in the rail belt, it's about 60 megawatts. So between the 5 utilities, they carry 60 megawatts of unloaded spinning generating capacity. So they're burning fuel but making no electricity. It's just waiting for a generator to trip off. We can you can use a battery to do that, and so they would buy battery capacity from us and turn off their generators, and we would charge a margin, our costs, it'd be a cost plus a margin to do that. So the margins from that come back and lower your overall rate.
Okay, last one. Sorry, I've always found this stuff pretty darn interesting. But I just want to reiterate, or just I want you to say that again, because I think you said that with this new agreement, we are saving somewhere in the vicinity of 1.2 or 1.3 million a year.
We could, yes, yeah.
With the RTO, not
With
with
the
this
RTO,
agreement
not
that
in
we're
the
voting
link,
on.
not in
Yeah,
this
not the
contract.
wholesale power.
Sorry.
But this would be, what we're doing is memorializing things that we've done historically in this agreement that then back up our claim that we are part of the backbone transmission system. And that's been approved by the RTO, but it still has to go to the RCA. The tariff was filed July 1st, and it would be approved somewhere between 6 and 15 months. And so we have to defend that claim in the public and in front of the RCA.
Basically, you're bringing us into the 21st century or something for
Yeah.
the Seward's election.
Yep.
Well, we're coming up to the 21st. So
Yeah.
So that's kind of an historical moment for us.
Yeah, I think it's a great deal, and it's a good agreement,
Yeah.
Arthur and the guys up at Chugach were really good to work with.
Councilmember Finch.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next.
For public knowledge on the battery, and not like we ever had power outages or avalanches, how long could the city use that runoff of that battery?
About probably in winter, about 3 hours, you could run off that, but it gives us time to get a couple things. We have to work out what they call the grid forming nature of the battery. But I'm confident we'll get there. Once you do that, then the city can run on that battery while we get our generators started, and ideally, you won't see an outage unless it takes us longer than 3 hours to get our generator started, which it shouldn't.
And correct me, you wouldn't see the big generator fuel bill for 3 hours if it's fixed in at 3 hours.
No, but there are losses on the battery.
Right, right.
It's about 7%. You put it in and taking it out.
Right.
So there are losses on that.
Okay, other questions, comments? We had a whole lesson.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Yeah, that was my fault.
Are we ready to vote? We're ready, Mr. Clerk. That's fine.
Okay, voting on the approval of Resolution 2025-073. Barnwell,
Yes.
Finch,
Yes.
Greats,
Yes.
Hosenga,
Yes.
and Mayor McClure.
Yes.
That resolution has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The only other thing is this discussion item I added on, and it's in, we received an email as council, and now it's gone to administration, from developer Zimmerman, requesting some extra DRP funds to work up there on some of the lots that are going to be paved. This relates to the Resolution 70, the Metco paving, to be able to put in the utilities there, receive a second phase to, maybe wording it wrong, DRP funds so that they wouldn't have to dig up the new paving to put in the underground utilities. And it seems that if we decide and give a nod to administration, they could come back with some kind of an amendment to, or something to allow this to happen. And so I'd like administration first to speak to
Let
this.
Jason speak to that.
And then
Yeah,
we can-
so, this is kind of new just because administration not seen this letter until a couple hours ago, so I appreciate Councilmember Finch just giving me a phone call about this and passing this
Right,
along.
we thought
So,
we had it.
but Mr. Zimmerman is developing that area in there, and so his concern was like, I'm planning to finish this development over here, but I don't want to like have them come in and pave, and then we have to tear it up so we can put water and sewer in the ground, right? And so, but under his current DRP program, he's actually like way under budget, and so he has money in his current phase 2 that could actually like pay for that. And we've done this type of thing before, where we take where we just basically come back and kind of do a new resolution for a pre-approved DRP and just add lots to it. And it doesn't change, like, in this case, what the numbers that he gave us don't actually change, like, the money that's been encumbered, because he's under budget. And so there's no new DRP program, we're not doing a new approval, we're just using money that he has not used yet to, like, expand this area. And so, but at the same time too, like, we have a process on our end where we need to get, like, specific estimates for those things. We need to talk to the developer, we need to look at those things. So so I would request that if council is okay with it, that we at the next council meeting we'll bring like some information back to you guys and some options where we think we could make this work, so that way we can get that put in the ground if possible. And we'll talk with Mr. Zimmerman and see if we can revise his phase 2 to make this happen.
Right, and I guess it was probably my fault. I never look and see who the emails are sent to, and I just assumed administration had received this email, but apparently he just sent it to council, so apologies to him for not acting. It's only been a couple days. It's not that long.
And Mr. Zimmerman would also be benefiting from Metco, from, like, the hilltop economy of scale, because they've also given him, they're like, we're already going to be in the ground and have everything moved up, and so we can just actually pull that down and connect into it, and it also probably at a cheaper cost that Mr. Zimmerman can probably go out and do it on his own. So anyway, I will, yeah, if it's okay with you, at the next meeting, we'll bring back more information in some ways. We'll talk to Mr. Zimmerman and see if we can get this worked out.
Councilmember Fitch.
I mean, we know we're short halfway through summer. This asphalting is going to have to be getting done quickly. So, I mean, as I agree, revise to add it to his phase 2 is my understanding was the basic goal.
We shouldn't have
because
to
of
add any
this.
funds or anything, so
Yeah,
it should be relatively simple.
From the numbers he gave us, I don't believe we need to add any funds to his what was approved for his phase 2. So.
Okay, so we'll have something, if that's okay with council.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. So next meeting, just put you guys to work a little bit more. Thank you very much. And that's all the business we had, I believe. And so that brings us to citizen comments. This is the 5-minute period. We have not many citizens sitting out there, but does anyone want to say anything? I'm not trying to discourage you. No? Okay. So then we'll bring it to council and administration comments and responses to citizen comments. Administration. City manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just hope everybody's been wearing their sunscreen. I know I have. It's been really sunny. Thank you. That's all I got.
Okay. Jason, do you have anything?
No comments. Thank you.
Wow. Okay, let's start with Councilmember Price. Okay, Councilmember Finch.
Thank you, Madam. It's interesting, the Jeep Trail parking issue is still floating around, and I'd like to see that get addressed, because living that area, I know that Jeep Trail to the trail is a nightmare. Just everybody enjoy the weather. We know the Derby's coming, and it's going to always be wet. So get your sun on now. Okay. I remember 33 days straight of rain in the Derby. Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
That was a rough one.
Councilmember Barnwell.
Thanks for the electric department. You guys really I just really pretty impressed with you guys' work and how much you guys have gone an extra mile to help Seward. And I think it's complicated stuff, and it's hard for us necessarily to recognize that, but it's pretty evident that we're in a good space right now, and appreciate you guys for doing all the work. So.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Well, I think I'll start off with thanking Kellyanne and I forgot the other guy's name, Cliff, for their small business discussion that we had. I think that they're a real good influence and have a positive impact on our small community here. And I would also say thank you to the electric department. I think actually thank you to administration. We had a lot of things that I think are falling in line tonight. Sometimes it's hard to see the what is this term for the trees or whatever the term is, but it can get kind of to be kind of heavy business up here, but I think everything was kind of moving in the right directions, and I just really actually enjoyed this meeting. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, well, yes, thank you, especially the electric people and administration for putting all these things together, and good questions from council. Don't forget about the Salmon Derby, and think about Dorothy when you're out there fishing, because she just loved her fishing. Also, I'm reminded today that I think we must be in a pretty high fire danger moment here. Everything's crunchy out there, and there's a lot of people, people in their $1 million recreational vehicles who have to have a fire and sit around a fire, and just be really careful, because I'm expecting some probably emergency regulations from the borough at least pretty soon if this keeps up, because it's really crunchy. So I always worry about that. I worry a lot. So that's my job. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, well, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:20.
You can hear the squirrels run through the leaves there.